Okay, it says that I am live streamed. Am I on the correct? I'm on the correct microphone. It just says that I'm live streaming though. It didn't give me the like weird countdown thing where I talk to you about nothing. It says I'm live. Okay. We'll see. Hi, I'm Lisa. I'll be your librarian today for Tea and New Book Tuesday. So I guess Facebook went down for hours yesterday, which means I've really got to start giving out the Zoom address so you guys can join me on Zoom if this happens again. I will say this though. What was I thinking? We're already there. I had more caffeine this time and I'm still spacey and tired as hell. The internet was also having trouble, and not just like the library, but I guess we were told it was entirely out of anyone in the library's hands, which means there's library or internet issues, probably with one of the big companies or something like that. So if we lose the internet, I can't do this at all. There's no, I can't make you all come down to the library so I can just hold up books in the window and we can be distant. Although I have considered many a time that once COVID is over, we should do this in person, possibly at West, because they receive all the new books and they process them. So I could almost hold up the books and show them to you, which would make it worth it, I think, to bring back nonfiction. Although I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. All of those are for times that are not now and months from now. Today, we are going to talk about November, which is a month from now. And I'll go over some of the hottest titles that have been pre-ordered by Mobile Public Library and are already in our catalog so that you can, if you want to, put a hold on them now, and you'll be one of the first people to receive them when they're ready to go out. Today's list, I always make the hits list, like the first one. I make it based on the new book flyer. And most of the new book flyer is series updates for November. I think I only have 6 titles, which is not bad. We've been pushing it to 10, and Tea New Book Tuesdays becoming like a half an hour long, which I always was aiming for 15 or 20 minutes. So we could cut it down. It's fine. But all of those series updates, I went ahead and made a discussion board post for our Tea and New Book Tuesday Goodreads group. So if you want to see what those are, peruse them, see if any of the series you are reading is getting an update in November. Go ahead and go to our Goodreads group. It's just Tea and New Book Tuesday, and look for the discussion board. That'll get you to that post so that you can look over it and see what's coming. But now, my favorite part of the show, your favorite part of the show, the giveaways. This is going to work the exact same way it has for quite a while now. I'm going to hold up and show you and read about the handful of books that I have to give away. I only have one of each. If you want one of them, put the title and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below. I will start sending them out probably at 11:30. And I will keep sending them out till this week. It's Saturday morning is the last batch I'll probably send out, or until we run out of books. You guys did go ahead and grab most of last week's books. I think I had one that was left over from the week before that didn't get grabbed, but everything else did. Which, weirdly enough, for this week's giveaway, we're starting off with one I've had before. This got grabbed when I had it before, but I got another copy. So this is Three Girls from Bronzeville, a uniquely American story of race, fate, and sisterhood. So it's about 3 young women who grew up in the Jim Crow South and the different directions that their lives took as they became adults. I think it looks really interesting. It's written by an award-winning journalist. So if you're interested in Three Girls from Bronzeville, go ahead and put that title into the list or into the comments with your MPL location for pickup. Next up, I have Sarah Rooney's Beautiful World, Where Are You? I think this has been fairly anticipated. She's an internationally best-selling author, most recently of Conversations with Friends. So a lot of people seem to like her. The description of this book is Alice, a novelist, meets Felix, who works in a warehouse, and asks him if he'd like to travel to Rome with her. In Dublin, her best friend Eileen is getting over a breakup and slips back into flirting with Simon, a man she has known since childhood. Alex, Felix, Eileen, and Simon are still young, but life is catching up with them. They desire each other, they delude each other, they get together, they break apart. They have sex, they worry about sex, they worry about their friendships and the world they live in. Are they standing in the last lighted room before the darkness, bearing witness to something? Will they find a way to believe in a beautiful world? So that's Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. Okay. The next two are both, I've got them early enough that they aren't out yet. So this is A Little Hope by Ethan Joella. This comes out November 2nd. It's described as a deeply moving, life-affirming novel about the residents of a small Connecticut town facing their fears and desires, a lost love, a stalled career, a diagnosis that highlights the beauty in the everyday. In the small city of Warden, Connecticut, lives are beginning to unravel. A husband betrays his wife, a son struggles with addiction, a widow mourns her late spouse. At the heart of these interlocking stories is one couple, Freddie and Greg Tyler. Greg has been diagnosed with multiple myeloma, a brutal form of cancer. He intends to handle this the way he has faced any challenge, with grit and determination. But can Greg possibly overcome his illness? How will Freddie and their daughter cope if he doesn't? How do others in Warden learn to live with loss and find happiness again? An emotionally powerful debut that immerses the reader in a community of friends, family, and neighbors. A Little Hope celebrates the importance of small moments of connection and the ways that love and forgiveness can help us survive even the most difficult times. So that's A Little Hope. Next up, this is also coming out on November 2nd. Wish You Were Gone by Kieran Scott. Go. They're calling this, it's for fans of the Netflix hit Dead to Me. Yeah. Kieran Scott was a New York Times bestselling YA author. And I don't know if this is their very first. Yeah. I think this might be Kieran Scott's first adult novel. But it is about Emma Walsh. Emma Walsh looks great on the outside. Emma Walsh's looks great on the outside marriage is at its breaking point, and she finally worked up the courage to confront her husband, James, about his drinking, his alcoholic rages, his blackouts, the uncertainty and fear his behavior has caused for her and their two kids. But James never shows up to meet her as planned, and all her righteous words go unsaid. And unsaid they remain, because the next time Emma sees James, his body is crumpled amidst the wreckage of his flashy car, smashed to its final resting place halfway between the wall of their suburban house's roomy garage. In the aftermath of the fatal crash, she and her teenage children, Kelsey and Hunter, begin to imagine life without the looming volcanic presence of their husband and father. Buoyed by the support of her two closest friends, Emma struggles to deal with her grief, complicated by the knowledge that James's legacy as an upstanding business owner and family man shines only because so many people were so willing for so long to keep his secrets. Secrets that twist into new and unexpected shapes as the mysterious details of his last day of life begin to come to light. So that's Wish You Were Gone. So if you want any of these four, put the title and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below, and we will get to passing books out. I was trying to have a review for you guys today, and I do kind of, because I've continued to read the last house on Needless Street. And I went ahead and skipped to the ending. My overall review, it's interesting. It's very, I think, well written in terms of description and character. But man, it is slow. There are not a lot of events in the first 50% of that book. It's about a little girl who goes missing, but you're following the narrative, I think 15 years later, 13 years later, something like that, as her sister continues to search for her, and as a man who was initially suspected for the child's disappearance is living in his house and taking care of his daughter, who occasionally doesn't call him daddy. It's yeah, one of the reasons I was told it's been compared to Gone Girl a lot, which is why I was really trying to like at least make it to the 50% mark, because there's a big change in Gone Girl at like halfway through that helps you recontextualize the whole beginning of the novel. I don't think that really happens here. And I don't know. I'm sure this book is for someone, but ultimately it wasn't for me. I just found it too hard to get to the good stuff. And the author was a little too good at building tension with absolutely no plot happening in the scene that they're building the tension. So yeah, I'm moving on. I'm probably going to try to read My Heart is a Chainsaw. I'll let you know how that goes. All right, let's move on. I'm still live. We are hoping. Facebook just needs to hold out for, 15 more minutes or so, and we'll be fine. All right, so let's get into the November hits. We're going to try. Depends on whether or not anybody decides to work today. There we go. All right, that's what I want to see. Let's move my little picture over there. Teen New Book Tuesday, November hits and giveaways, as always. Starting off with Mitch Album? I don't know. The Stranger in the Lifeboat. So, adrift in a raft after a deadly ship explosion, 9 people struggle for survival at sea. 3 days pass. Short on water, food, and hope, they spot a man floating in the waves. They pull him in. Thank the Lord we found you, a passenger says. I am the Lord, the man whispers. So begins Mitch Album's most beguiling and inspiring novel yet. The author has written of heaven in the celebrated #1 bestsellers, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and The First Phone Call from Heaven. Now, for the first time in his fiction, he ponders what we would do if, after crying out for divine help, God actually appeared before us. What might the Lord look and sound and act like? In The Stranger in the Lifeboat, the author keeps us guessing until the end. Is this strange and quiet man really who he claims to be? What actually happened to cause the explosion? Are the survivors already in heaven, or are they in hell? The story is narrated by Benji, one of the passengers, who recounts the events in a notebook that is later discovered a year later when the empty life raft washes on the island of Montserrat. It falls to the island's chief inspector, Jardy Lafleur, a man battling his own demons to solve the mystery of what really happened. A fast-paced, compelling novel that makes you ponder your deepest beliefs, The Stranger in the Lifeboat suggests that answers to our prayers may be found where we least expect them. We are also getting this as an audiobook, which should be in the catalog already as well. So if you're interested in The Stranger in the Lifeboat, it comes out November 2nd. All right. Never by Ken Follett. Follett's really popular, as are most of the authors I'm going to talk about today, because this is, the new book flyer. This is the ones we anticipate you guys asking about and calling about and eagerly anticipating the most. Okay. In the Sahara Desert, Two elite intelligence agents are on the trail of a powerful group of drug smuggling terrorists, risking their lives at every turn. Nearby, a beautiful young widow fights against human traffickers while traveling illegally to Europe with the help of a mysterious man who may or may not be who he says he is. In China, a senior government official with vast ambitions for himself and his country battles against the older communist hawks in the government, who may be pushing China and its close military ally, North Korea, to a place of no return. And in the United States, Pauline Green, the country's first woman president, navigates terrorist attacks, illegal arms trading, and the smear campaigns of her blustering political opponent with careful and deft diplomacy. She will do everything in her power to avoid starting an unnecessary war. But when one act of aggression leads to another, the most powerful countries in the world are caught in a complex web of alliances they can't escape. And once all the sinister pieces are in place, can anyone, even those with the best of intentions and most elite skills, stop the inevitable? Never is an extraordinary thriller full of heroines and villains, false prophets and elite warriors, jaded politicians and opportunistic revolutionaries. It brims with cautionary wisdom for our times, and it delivers a visceral, heart-pounding read that transports readers to the brink of the unimaginable. This already got starred reviews in both Kirkus and Publishers Weekly magazine. We are also buying it as an audiobook. So if you're interested in Never either as a book or as an audiobook, it comes out November 9th. All right. Oh, I didn't tell you what tea I'm drinking today. Today I'm having my Tazo vanilla bean macaron, which is, as always, lovely. Okay. Moving on to The Sentence by another author whose last name I am going to butcher. Louise Erdrich. She's Louise from now on. Louise Erdrich's latest novel, The Sentence, asks what we owe the living, the dead, the reader, and the book. A small independent bookstore in Minneapolis is haunted from November 2019 to November 2020 by the store's most annoying customer. Flora dies on All Saints Day, but she simply won't leave the store. Tookie, who has landed a job selling books after years of incarceration that she survived by reading with murderous attention, must solve the mystery of this haunting while at the same time trying to understand all that occurs in Minneapolis during a year of grief, astonishment, isolation, and furious reckoning. The Sentence begins on All Saints Day 2019 and ends on All Saints Day 2020. Its mystery and ghost stories during this 1 year prepare a narrative as rich, emotional, and profound as anything Louise Erdrich has written. This already got starred reviews from both Kirkus and Publishers Weekly. So if you're interested in The Sentence, it comes out November 9th. All right. I can at least be relieved by the author's name. A Man of Honor by Barbara Taylor Bradford. So easy. All right. Opening 5 years before the start of A Woman of Substance, A Man of Honor begins with 13-year-old Blackie O'Neill facing an uncertain future in his rural county Kerry. Orphaned and alone, he has just buried his sister and must leave his home to set sail for England in search of a better life with his mother's brother in Leeds. There he learns his trade as a navy amid the grand buildings and engineering triumphs of one of England's most prosperous cities, and starts to dream of greater things. And then, high on the Yorkshire moors, in the mists of the winter morning, he meets a kitchen maid named Emma Hart. In Man of Honor, the true Blackie O'Neill is revealed. Oh, I should point out, this is a prequel. I went ahead and included it because I think you can read it without reading the rest of the series. So it might be a good introduction. And the authors usually turn to a prequel once the rest of the narrative is done. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't look it up. So, yeah. So maybe A Man of Honor is a place to get into this series. But we're dealing with, I think this is sort of our origin story for the character Blackie O'Neill. I don't know his significance to a woman of substance, but at any rate, for the first time, readers discover his story, his tumultuous life, the obstacles facing him, the desire he has to throw off the impotence of poverty and move up in the world. Like his friend Emma, he is ambitious, driven, disciplined, and determined to make it to the top. And like Emma Hart, he is an unforgettable character for millions who love the book. We are also getting this on audio. So if you're interested in A Man of Honor, it comes out November 16th. All right, Flying Angels by Danielle Steele. We got a little historical fiction mixed in here. I think the last one was probably historical fiction too. But anyway, Audrey Parker's life changed forever when Pearl Harbor is attacked on December 7th, 1941. Her brother, a talented young Navy pilot, has been stationed there, poised to fulfill their late father's distinguished legacy. Fresh out of nursing school, with a passion and a born gift for helping others, both Audrey and her friend Lizzie suddenly find their nation on the brink of war. Driven to do whatever they can to survive, they enlist in the Army and embark on a new adventure as flight nurses. Okay, just a second. I need the tea to soothe my throat. Okay. Risking their lives on perilous missions, they join the elite medical air evacuation transport squadron and fly into enemy territory almost daily to rescue wounded soldiers from the battlefield. Audrey and Lizzie make enormous sacrifices to save lives alongside an extraordinary group of nurses. Alex, who longs to make a difference in the world. Louise, a bright mind who faced racial prejudice growing up in the South. Prue, a selfless leader with a heart of gold. And Emma, whose confidence and grit push her to put everything on the line for her parents. Even though they will not achieve any rank and will receive little pay for their efforts, the Flying Angel will give their all in the fight for freedom. They serve as bravely and tirelessly as the men they rescue on the front lines and are eternally bound by the loyalty to one another. Danielle Steele presents a sweeping, stunning tribute to these incredibly courageous women, inspiring symbols of bravery and valor. All right, if you're interested in the flying or just Flying Angels, it comes out November 23rd. And our last book of today, Jodi Picoult, no idea. Anyway, Wish You Were Here, which I had confused with Wish You Were Gone at one point and was like, oh, I already have a book that I'm talking about today. So I can give that away. And then as I was going over my notes, I'm like, no, this is not the same book. I don't even think they're the same genre. Anyway, Diane O'Toole is perfectly on track. She will be married by 30, done having kids by 35, and move out to the New York City suburbs, all while climbing the professional ladder in the cutthroat. I often edit these descriptions, even though I'm reading, obviously, description the publisher wrote. I'll take things out that are just a pain to pronounce, or there's always a lot of asides, and those tend to work better if you're reading than they do if you're speaking. So I'll cut those out. But they do love to use words like this. Climbing the professional ladder in the cutthroat art auction world. Not a fun sentence to say. Anyway, she's not engaged just yet, but she knows her boyfriend Finn, a surgical resident, is about to propose on their romantic getaway to the Galapagos, days before her 30th birthday, right on time. But then a virus that felt worlds away has appeared in the city, and on the eve of their departure, Finn breaks the news. It's all hands on deck at the hospital. He has to stay behind. You should still go, he assures her, since it would be a shame for all their non-refundable trip to go to waste. And so, reluctantly, she goes. Almost immediately, Diana's dream vacation goes awry. The whole island is now under quarantine, and she is stranded until the borders reopen. Completely isolated, she must venture beyond her comfort zone. Slowly, she carves out a connection with the local family when a teenager with a secret opens up to Diana, despite her father's suspicion of outsiders. Diana finds herself examining her relationships, her choices, and herself, and wondering if when she goes home, she too will have evolved into someone completely different. They don't give the exact timing on this one, but I think this is another one that takes place amidst COVID, as did, what was the other one that said that? The Sentence by Louise of the unpronounceable last name. So that's interesting. We've gotten to a point where we're getting the novels that are written about that early point. I'm betting we will go through this with a whole bunch of them and then nobody for a while, and then they'll start writing about it again. It's kind of, I feel like the trend I saw was September 11th, but I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting. I think it's nice to sort of dive into these fiction versions of the way in which COVID and lockdown and everything affected people. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. Wish you were here. We are also getting on audio. If you're interested, it comes out November 30th. All right. So we will not forget, there is a giveaway on. I have books to give away. I need people to give them to. So put the title and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below. As I said, the Goodreads group now has a discussion board post with November series updates. Go check that out. The link for the newsletter is in the description of this video. So you can just click on that and go subscribe to that if you aren't already. I think most of you are, though. And next week, we are going to talk about November mysteries and thrillers, of which there are many. Are there many? I don't know. I know I have several to give away. I think that's why I'm thinking there's a lot. But anyway, so you'll want to come back for that, especially if you want a new mystery book to read. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. All right. Bye.